Now on CoastTV News.
Strong surf but no lifeguards. Why rip current concerns are growing in Assateague Island. Better bars. As events pack the boardwalk, Ocean City is adding cell towers to strengthen your service. And tax talk. Millsboro leaders are considering a hotel tax, how the close vote played out, and what the mayor has to say about it.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Trump breaking bread tonight. Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Welcome to Coast TV News at 11. Tonight, the two world leaders talking about a possible break in the war between Israel and Hamas. And at the same time, the administration is focused on trade deals. NBC's Julie Sirkin has details from Washington.
It's great to have you. Thank you very much.
President Trump greeting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu at the White House. The aim? A possible ceasefire in the 21-month war in Gaza. Trump has been pushing for an end in fighting between Israel and Hamas for months.
We had a great result recently, and we're going to have a lot of great results.
On Friday, Hamas said it would release all remaining hostages from the 2023 attack on Israel in exchange for an end to fighting and full Israeli troop withdrawal. But the two sides are deadlocked on whether this would be a 2-month truce, which Israel has agreed to, or a permanent end to the war. And it comes as another major deadline looms. President Trump said July 9th as the target date for nations to renegotiate trade deals with the U.S.
The president will also sign an executive order today delaying the July 9th deadline to August 1st.
But with few deals struck and talks lagging, the White House has started sending letters to countries, letting them know which tariffs their exported goods will be hit with upon arrival here.
If they call with a different offer and if I like it, we'll do it.
The first two letters shared by the president on social media, turning up the heat on Japan and South Korea. Trump saying a 25% import tax will be put on goods on August 1st.
But those letters also make it clear they are open to negotiation. Remember, the president initially said he wants 90 trade deals in 90 days. Now, White House trade advisors are saying they hope to reach about a dozen agreements by Wednesday. The only two agreement frameworks have been announced so far, with Vietnam and Britain. In Washington, Julie Sirkin, NBC News.
Coming back to the coast now, the rough weather is stirring up some concerns about rip currents, especially at Assateague Island, which still has no lifeguards. The Chincoteague Volunteer Fire Company posted online that it had a distress call for a rip current this weekend, and it says there were some community rescues along the shores. The fire company asks people to be extra cautious because of the lack of lifeguards, a situation that has some beachgoers worried with the strong seas.
I think we should have lifeguards here. It's a big park and a big beach and a lot of people.
And officials say swimmers should not fight a rip current. Remember, if you get caught in one, you need to swim parallel to the shoreline out of the current before trying to swim back to shore. And now we're going to take a live look outside into Ocean City and turn things to our first alert chief meteorologist, Paul Williams. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. And what we have right now, we have the calming before the heat, okay? And then we'll have possibly some storms for by tomorrow night. But overall, we've had some scattered showers from earlier today that prompted concern for flooding. And now we have an continuation of flooding concerns throughout Delmarva. But right now we're at 77 degrees throughout a good number of our locations: Milton, Georgetown, Millsboro, Dagsboro, Gumboro, and Delmar, by the way. But here's a look at how things are shaping up. Where you see the green, we actually have active flood watches in effect. So this has just been issued for us as a flood watch in effect, and it stays in effect until midnight Wednesday, because we're looking for another round of rain to come knocking on our door. Now, this also carries over towards the Trap area as well as Secretary. And in addition to that, we have concerns for small craft advisory and breezy conditions, and the heat's kicking back in as well. We'll have more on the heat coming up in a moment. Till then, back to you.
Thanks, Paul. The Ocean City Council released a statement today after fireworks were launched into a crowd over the weekend, causing panic. Take a look at the video here. People running in fear on the boardwalk. This phone actually ended up on the ground as people were running over it. Some had mistakenly thought gunshots had been fired. Police say that wasn't what happened. It was, in fact, fireworks. Multiple arrests have been made, and today the Ocean City Council said, quote, social media drew large crowds of teenagers, some juveniles, who appeared to come with the sole intent of causing disruption and chaos, unquote.
I saw was a bunch of people running, so I just turned back and went back inside. So I had to start the worst. I was kind of scared a little.
And in a separate incident in Bethany Beach, someone was shooting fireworks at people near the boardwalk as they walked by. No arrest has been made in that incident. And fireworks were not the only crime in Ocean City this weekend. Just before 1 a.m. on July 5th, there was a shooting. That was at the intersection of 28th Street and Philadelphia Avenue. Police say they found an 18-year-old man with a gunshot wound to his arm. He was taken to the hospital, and they say he's expected to recover, but has been uncooperative with the ongoing investigation. And we'll go now to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what concerns you about recent boardwalk incidents. Looking at the results, 5% say fireworks misuse, 13% with lack of security, 77%, this has been the most popular answer all day, rowdy crowds. And we want to know what you think. You can still vote. Go to CoastTV.com or use our mobile app. Well, we all have cell phones, and it can be frustrating when they don't work, especially on vacation. Well, now the town of Ocean City is looking to add additional small cell towers to busy areas. It's just in time for music festivals this fall. Town leaders are working with phone companies like AT&T and Verizon on this project. Tourists on the boardwalk say the added towers would help make the vacation experience better.
I think it would just help a lot, especially with how many people come down here. I think a lot of people have problems, and so many people travel from very far away, and they want to contact their family to show them how nice it is down here. So to do that, they need cell service.
And town leaders say if the new small cell towers are not up in time for the fall festivals, temporary assets will be brought into Ocean City. New tonight, voters in Rehoboth should keep in mind that this Thursday, July 10th, is the deadline to register to vote in the city municipal election. 4 candidates are running for 2 open seats on the Board of Commissioners. In-person voting will take place August 9th. And you can see a list of all the candidates and other important dates on CoastTV.com. Well, take a look at your screen. Is this anyone's kayak? Denrec police say they found it floating in the Indian River Bay about a quarter-mile south of Massey's Landing. If it's yours or you know whose it is, you should contact Denrec police. Also, Denrec is eliminating the need for visitors to make reservations for surf fishing at certain drive-on beaches. That's starting Saturday, July 12th. Beaches at Delaware Seashore State Park, Fenwick Island State Park, and Beach Plum Island, that's north of Lewis, they're all included in the list. These specific places were chosen because Denrec says they've not reached capacity on weekends this summer. The Millville Volunteer Fire Company has made changes to its policies and offered some new training after police say 2 former volunteer firefighters, their names Jay Droney and Jordan Hastings, they chased a paid employee with a rope tied into a noose. And Gary Canitis with the Millville Volunteer Fire Company says the changes were made in hopes of avoiding a similar situation in the future. According to Canitis, allegations came to light on April 9th. And after an investigation, by June 1st, 100% of the career staff and 2/3 of the volunteer members completed training. He says 2 changes are key to handling these issues swiftly.
One is giving the board the latitude to work a little bit faster for particularly egregious incidents, and then 2, giving people more avenues and mechanisms to report when they see any sort of discriminatory or harassing behavior.
And Canitis says the fire company will push forward after some reputation damage by remaining who they have always been, public servants. Tonight in Millsboro, the town council voted on whether or not to add a hotel tax. It would be for both hotels and rental homes, but the council did vote 4-3 against the ordinance. Here's what the Millsboro Mayor Rob McKee had to say about it.
We're not desperate for money at this point with the town, and it's an additional tax that people have to pay. So we do have some visitors coming into Millsboro staying in the hotels, but we also have family members of people that live here. So we're, in fact, taxing our own family.
And McKee says the town will consider adding a hotel tax again sometime in the future. Meanwhile, short-term rentals like Airbnbs have become a hot topic in a lot of coastal communities. As Coast TV News reporter Emma Aiken shows us that.
This is Dean Abbott. He lives in downtown Milton.
Having the ability to know your neighbors is invaluable, just invaluable. There's no way around it. And it makes for a stronger, better neighborhood.
Abbott says that sense of community is the reason he's pushing back against short-term rentals in neighborhoods like his. Last month, the town put stricter regulations on short-term rentals. That's anything rented for 30 days or less. The town also added licensing restrictions and occupancy limitations. Now, Town Council wants the Planning and Zoning Commission to get involved to see if any additional regulations need to be added. That's what Abbott wants, a separation of where short-term rentals can and cannot go.
I don't think they should be allowed there. But there's lots of other places that they can go in Milton without being doing damage to residential neighborhoods where you're not going to know your neighbors.
Jamie Berry disagrees.
I think you need them.
She feels like short-term rentals are important for the economy, though she is fine with regulations.
The rules have to be in place, and that's what keeps the town charming. That's what keeps the infrastructure keeping up with what's going on with tourism and also the neighborhoods that are coming along.
The Milton Town Council will meet at 6:30 and could vote on an issue that some say is damaging and detrimental, while others say offers booming benefits. In Milton, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
And we still have a lot more news to get into this evening. Coming up, money and emotions, how stress and fear could be costing you more than you think. But first, rescue and recovery. Families wait for answers as floodwaters swallow homes and lives in Texas.
As you take a look at our Bay forecast, we're going to be very steamy for tomorrow with a heat advisory in effect. And then by the time we get to Thursday, we'll be concerned about a bit of flooding on our own. Your full forecast coming up in just 60 seconds. Well, we've had our fair share of rain, and now we've got to deal with some heat and then more rain that will follow behind it. And we may actually have to be concerned with some flooding because we have a newly issued flood watch that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. So at Irish Ice Pub point of view in Lewis, I mean, it's a very quiet situation now. We warmed all the way up to 89 degrees in Georgetown, 84 Cambridge, 83 degrees was actually the high we recorded in Ocean City. Right now, taking a look at live radar, we're clear as far as precipitation is concerned, but there's a lot of color happening on this map, and we need to dig into what exactly that means for you. First of all, what newly activated flood watch, we had one earlier today, it was allowed to expire, then they reinitiated another one because they're concerned about the rain for Tuesday night, going into early Wednesday morning. So a flood watch is in effect for Laurel, Pepper, Millsboro, Cool Springs, all the inland areas. Now, when we talk about a watch, which is also in effect for the folks over here in Trapp as well as Bruceville and Easton, this means that we have ingredients possible for flooding to occur. Okay, when it's a warning, that means it is actually occurring. Just as a quick update on the terminology. We also have a heat advisory in effect for Cambridge area, Mount Holly, Secretary, as well as throughout most of Acromack, Somerset, Wacomico, and Worcester County, places like Newark, Cedartown, Ocean Pines, in those regions, because we're looking for the heat index to get to 105 or possibly 107. And we still have an active small craft advisory, at least for tonight, so it's going to be breezy along the shore. Overall, we have a low pressure system, the leftover remnants of Chantal moving gently towards the northeast and just falling apart very quickly. Update on our latest rainfall totals. Ellendale, just shy of 1 3/4 of an inch of rain, over an inch of rain in Georgetown, just shy of that in places like Seaford, and over a half an inch in Prime Hook. We officially had over 2 inches that actually hit in Cambridge, and over an inch in Georgetown. Then we also have an updated number right here. Slaughter Beach came in at 1.31. That's some new information that's available. Now, when you take a look at this from a normal standpoint, generally speaking, as far as the month is concerned, we're pretty much on target. But for the entire year, we're about just 1.5 inches above our normal rainfall total. Right now, we're at 77 degrees in Milton, Rehoboth Beach, Dagsboro, as well as Gumboro. Tomorrow, we're looking for steamy conditions, 94 in Georgetown, for example, feeling like 106. 92 in Cambridge, feeling like 101 or 2. 93 in Snow Hill, likely to feel like 105 degrees. And the air quality is starting to tank a little bit more. We have more yellow dots popping up here with moderate, and we could go downgrade to possibly on orange. We'll keep a close eye on that. Winds are pushing out of the south, 96 for Tuesday. Then we have a quick developing spot shower that's going to pull through rather quickly, which means it might be intense, but it'll have a lot of energy because look at what it's going to feel like by 3 o'clock before that rain hits. It's going to feel as warm as 105 degrees in places like Seaford for Tuesday. And then we take a look at the Wednesday rain that's going to push over towards the east, so we're going to brace for that hit and miss spot shower pattern. Finally, here's a look at the extended forecast. It's going to really become rainy, particularly when we hit Thursday.
All right, thank you, Paul. Well, the death toll has now risen to at least 104 in Texas. Emergency responders fear that number will continue to rise. With more rain on the way, rescue crews are racing against the clock to find people missing since the floods. Maribel Gonzalez is in Texas with the details on the heart-wrenching stories of loss.
As more time passes, hope turns to grief as families desperately search for loved ones who were lost in the floods.
I had to swim through a window and hold on to the meter box outside of the house.
What started as rain early Friday morning quickly turned deadly in central Texas as the Guadalupe River rose more than 20 feet in less than 2 hours, bursting its bank, sending water and debris smashing into homes and tearing down trees. Federal and local agencies and volunteers are scouring areas by boat and air, looking for survivors. But with so much wreckage and more rain in the forecast, it's a challenging and dangerous task.
As the water moves, the debris also, sometimes it falls into the water. You have to worry about these snapped trees falling on top of rescuers.
More than 100 people have died and about 24 are still missing. These two brothers, Brock and Braden Davis, were attending camp in Hunt, one of the hardest hit areas, when the floods struck.
Our bed started tipping over and we got to the top really quick.
At the heart of this tragedy, Camp Mystic, a Christian girls' camp where more than 24 campers and counselors have been confirmed dead. The camp sits next to the Guadalupe River, making it hard for crews to rescue them.
They were in need of airlift. There was no other way to get them out. Bridges were gone, roadways were gone, and the water was coming up too high for boat rescue.
In Kerrville, I'm Maribel Gonzalez.
Coming up next, a bad day for Tesla stock as Elon Musk is feeling the heat from Trump.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Amazon's popular Prime Day is almost here. This year, Prime Day starts tomorrow, Tuesday, July 8th. Amazon now entering its second decade of hosting the annual summer sale event. And with a milestone this year, it's unveiling a change. Amazon will run Prime Day for 4 full days. That's from July 8th until Friday, July 11th. That's twice the typical 48 hours. Tesla shares seeing red at the Frankfurt Stock Exchange in Germany today. Shares of the electric car maker tanked more than 5%. The down arrow comes as President Donald Trump took another swipe at his former government advisor Sunday night. In a post on his Truth Social platform, Trump called the Tesla CEO a, quote, train wreck. Over the holiday weekend, Elon Musk said he plans to form a third political party. Well, making big financial decisions can carry a lot of weight. So what to do when the outside world seems to be adding even more anxiety? From national and global headlines to events in your everyday life, the world can appear filled with chaos, which can make financial planning incredibly difficult. Reporter Michael Yoshida has more on ways to manage your feelings when managing your finances.
From conflicts to economic uncertainty and more, it can seem like the world is piling on top of our own concerns and considerations we face when making big financial decisions.
Money is something that we deal with 24/7.
Financial planner and financial therapist Rick Kaler says it's important to remember you can't control what's happening in the outside world, only your response to it.
90% of all financial decisions are made emotionally.
And when your anxiety seems to be in overdrive, consider how that may consciously and subconsciously influence your decisions. Kaler suggests trying to understand the stories, experiences, and traumas of your life, even if they have nothing to do with money.
All of this comes into play with every financial decision that we make. And the more stressed we are, the more triggered we are, the higher the chance of a poor financial decision playing out.
So whether it's a house, career change, growing your family, or something else, Kaler says be clear on what emotions may be at play.
When I can recognize, wow, I feel a lot of fear right now, maybe it's fear about what's going on in the world, that's a good time to take a pause if I'm looking at making a financial decision, even as small as buying the latte, and assess what is really going on.
Coming up in sports tonight, Eli Johnson-Dixon is staying on Delmarva. See where Early College's All-State guard is headed next.
Here's a look at your golf forecast. Tomorrow it's going to be really hot, really humid. I'm not going to call it good or excellent because it's going to feel like 105 degrees.
An alarming new study says the health of America's children has declined over the past few decades. Children in the U.S. are dying at a much higher rate than those in similar high-income countries. A study published Monday finds that the biggest disparities were in deaths from gun violence and traffic accidents. The study also highlighted an increase in chronic conditions and found that nearly half of U.S. children are getting medical care for a chronic health problem. It's the leading cause of death in the United States. One person dies of cardiovascular disease every 33 seconds, according to the CDC. But a new study suggests that many who are eligible for medication to lower cholesterol aren't actually taking it. In tonight's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither talks to the lead author about that research.
Every year in the U.S., about 805,000 people have a heart attack, and more than 795,000 men and women have a stroke. But there are medications to reduce the risk of both.
Despite the benefits of these treatments for high cholesterol, they're underutilized.
Dr. Caleb Alexander with Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health is lead author of a study that analyzed 5,000 U.S. adults. About half of those studied were eligible to take medication to lower cholesterol, but only about 23% of the patients who had never had a major cardiovascular event were taking the medicine to reduce risk of one. And of those who have had a major event, only about 68% were taking the medication.
These treatments include statins, which many people may be familiar with. These drugs are safe and effective and have been on the market for many years, but they're also newer treatments.
Alexander says there are many reasons people aren't taking cholesterol-lowering medication. Many are undiagnosed and skip yearly checkups so they don't know they have high cholesterol. Others may not feel they need treatment or are unable to afford it, and others don't remember to take the medicine consistently.
Tens of thousands of heart attacks and tens of thousands of strokes could be prevented each year if people were receiving treatment for high cholesterol that's in accordance with the best expert guidelines.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
The Delmarva commitments to Chesapeake College continue. This time, the Skipjacks bring Early College High School's best player in. Eli Johnson-Dixon is taking his talents to Y Mills, Maryland. The 6'1" guard was a first-team All-State selection with the Hornets. ECHS went 13-8 this past year, falling in the first round of the playoffs. Johnson-Dixon now joins former Seaford star Kareem Bolden and 3 other Delmarva grads in the Skipjacks incoming class. Moving to high school football, we've reached the final episode of our docuseries, Into the Trenches, A New Voyage. The Vikings punched their ticket to the playoffs, and now they try to knock off defending champs Salesianum. Let's take a sneak peek into what episode 12 has in store.
On the next Into the Trenches.
They went up there as the 8th seed. Like, this can happen. We believe it, and we need them to believe it.
We showed what we could do last year. We went and won 2 games on the road.
If you put it all together and play your best game tonight, you will win.
I know some of these guys up here. I know what their intentions are. It's to embarrass you.
Play for an audience of one, whatever happens.
Into the Trenches, A New Voyage on the Delmarva Sports Network and DSN Plus, sponsored by Preston Automotive.
And up until Thursday, we've got plenty of Summer League action coming your way from lacrosse, soccer, and basketball. For highlights, just head to our website, DelmarvaSportsNetwork.com. That'll do for sports tonight.
Now we're taking a live look outside into Salisbury from Salisbury University. We'll have one more check on the forecast after the break. Ringo Starr celebrated his 85th birthday surrounded by friends in LA on Monday. The Beatles drummer was joined by fellow musicians like Joe Walsh and Richard Marx, but age is not holding Starr back. He still performs, even appearing on stage with fellow Beatle Paul McCartney back in December. And we're going to take one more check on our CoastTV poll tonight. We wanted to know what concerns you about recent boardwalk incidents. We told you about the incidents in Ocean City and Bethany Beach over the holiday weekend. It looks like 76%, the most popular answer. People are concerned about those rowdy crowds. 14%, they're worried about a lack of security. 5% say fireworks misuse, but hey, 5% also say nothing much. We still want to know what you think. You can still vote. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app.
So our dry take cross-base camera, Ocean City, 80 degrees right now, and we're expected to drop into the upper 70s with scattered cloud cover before 3 o'clock. We have a reinitiated flood watches in effect for our immediate area, and we're concerned about heat advisories as well. We'll continue to monitor both. Our umbrella giveaway winner is Norma Brent of Rehoboth Beach. Congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration and Home Remodeling. Now, you can keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. The number to call is 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. And finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. Just kind of as a reminder, remember Tuesday we have a heat advisory in effect. We're expecting the heat index to climb to 105, possibly 107 in some areas. Wednesday, muggy as well, with chance of scattered showers late Tuesday going into Wednesday. But then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, we're looking for stormy weather to stick around.
All right, thank you, Paul, and thanks to you at home for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find more news and local weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next, and we'll see you tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.